Hey, what's up everybody? I am back with another top 10 list. This is Carlos, and this is the Carlos Collects Comics YouTube channel. And I'm looking forward to sharing with you today my top 10 picks for Transformers back issues you should be picking up right now. Alright, so let's get started with our list. These are the top 10 Transformers back issues that I think that you should be picking up right now. And I'm now, unlike my G.I. Joe video where I shared those top 10 issues, I'm not going to be limiting this to just the Marvels, or just Marvel's 1980s Transformer run. Instead, I'm also going to pick a couple of modern books, and I'll explain why. So first on my list is obviously the biggest and strongest one is going to be Transformers #1. It's the first appearance of Optimus Prime, Megatron, Starscream, and many other Transformers characters. Everybody knows the cover, but I do want to make sure and point out when I'm talking about #1 that there is a Canadian price variant, as well as 3 different printings. Now for the first, second, and third printings, each cover looks the same, so you have to look on the inside, first page, bottom, to see which of the printings that you've got. Next on my list is Transformers #2. It's the second issue, second appearance, and of all these major characters, and so that's another good one to pick up that is going to be a lot more affordable than the first issue. Transformers issue #4 is the first appearance of Shockwave, who's an iconic character, and it's a cameo it's the first cameo of the Dinobots, who are another set of memorable characters, the 5 dinosaur characters that everybody remembers from the cartoon show growing up. I put Transformers #5 on my list for top 10 recommends because in addition to #1, it's the only other painted cover in the run. And it's very much a photorealistic one. It was done by Alan Kupperberg, and it just, for me, it's a personal favorite of mine. There's nothing big that happens in the issue, but I think it's worth picking up because it's a beautiful display piece to have out on a shelf or a desk or a wall. So I put that on there, and I recommend picking it up. It is very affordable, even in high grade, so why not pick it up for the collection. Next up is Transformers #8. That's the first appearance of the Dinobots. It's their first full appearance. They're also on the cover, and this is going to be a really good one to come up with because I don't really feel like they've been fully shown on screen the way they could have been. I'm liking what they did with that soft reboot of Bumblebee and what they might do with the Transformers moving forward in live action. And so I'd love to see what they might come back with if they could look at them like a more traditional version of themselves at some point in the future, even if it was just an animated reboot. Transformers #10 is the first appearance of the Constructicons. These were another iconic team of characters, and I still remember from the cartoon series the first battle between the Constructicons and the Dinobots, and that's just a really neat, the idea of 5 robots connecting together was a big thing in the 80s with characters like Voltron and so on and so forth, and so I just thought it was a great it's a great issue to have in your collection. Jumping forward, Transformers #61 is the first appearance of Primus, and it's the origin of the Transformers and Cybertron. Now, their origin is also retold in issue #70, but I think these are neat stories to have and to pick up, and they are relatively inexpensive at this point. Last, from the original 80s run from Marvel, is issue #80. That's the final issue. Final issues of series in the 80s and 90s are always, or just across the board, are always going to be a lot lower print run than some of the other issues within the same run. This is because generally by the time a comic gets to the point where it's not going to be moving forward, the print run's dropped, demand has dropped, so there's going to be a lot fewer high-grade copies that are out there available. The last 2 books on my list, I put Transformers the movie #1, because, not because it's the first appearance of Galvatron in the U.S. comics, but because the movie, the original animated movie, was such an iconic piece. You know, we'd never seen a children's cartoon get this type of a more mature treatment, where you had major characters dying and you had new characters being introduced. You even had a couple of instances of bad language being dropped in it, and I just remember that being a very memorable feature film representation of the franchise, and it being shocking to see Optimus Prime along with many others die. So I think that the first issue from the movie adaptation is well worth picking up and adding to your Transformers collection. Last on my list, in 2019, IDW reintroduced the Transformers, and so issue #1, it had a couple of variants, but the one that I want to showcase is the variant Virgin cover with art by John Gallagher. And this you can see it here on the screen. You can also Google it for close-ups. It's a beautiful cover. It's a very, very memorable image of Optimus Prime. Now the metal variant cover for this same issue is also nice and highly collectible, but I just thought, because again, the artwork, when you render the Transformers in a painted medium for a comic book, they just look really, really striking, and it really showcases the design well. So these are my top 10 picks for Transformers back issues that you should be picking up at this point. I'm looking forward to seeing what they might do with the property. I haven't heard any additional news about it, but I'm glad that it continues to be popular in the 80s, and be on the lookout for a future video where I'm going to share my top 10 picks for 80s properties to be picking up. Talk to you soon.